You do not develop a mindset to defend Hinduism under these sophisticated threats, then tomorrow it will be only a matter of time where the people will go further and further away into the clutches of the religions. First of all Hindus must decide whether India is a country which the British and perhaps the Mughals put it together, or it's an ancient nation coming from time immemorial. That clarity has to come. If you say that this is an ancient nation, then obviously the foundation of India is a Hindu foundation. Its basic character is Hindu. And its distinctiveness is also Hindu today. Therefore, it is that first decision that has to be made. That what is India? Is it a recent construction of the British or perhaps the Mughals? Or is it something that has always been there? Of course it's always been there. If you read what Chanakya wrote, he said we will all have thoroughly decentralized country, but there is a concept called Chakravartin, which means when the nation is in trouble, we will all unite and pool our resources. And that is why even though Chanakya was in Patna, or rather in Patliputra, or Rajgraha better still, Patliputra came later, Rajgraha, the capital of the Mauryas, he went all the way to fight Seleucus Nicator in the borders of what is today Pakistan. There he fought them, and he said, you have to hold them there. All through why we had all these battles of Panipat, because it was a national decision that if you are invaded, we should not wait for the people to come deep into India, but we should hold them in the borders of India. India is a time concept which has come from time immemorial as from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. So therefore, that is the first thing that you have to do. Second, in order for you to defend this India, you must know the true history of India. India is a Hindu foundation country. This is the message that I want to deliver. I'd be happy to take questions from you. Thank you very much.
I'm very honored that Gupta ji has found time and made efforts to bring all of you together to give me an opportunity to speak to you on a very important subject, and my subject title is Hinduism under Siege. This Hinduism is surrounded. In India says that only those approvals evidence can be taken as primary of those people who are there who committed the murder. And those who committed the murder say, yes, the Shankaracharya asked them to do it, then that is evidence. But someone who was not there in the scene at all, if he says, no, I know for a fact that Shankaracharya asked me to do it, that is not evidence. They ask the police, this is your training? Ask the Tamil Nadu police, is this your training? Did you call this approver as evidence? Then they said that he had withdrawn money, withdrawn money from a bank account. The bank manager gave a letter and said no such money was withdrawn. All found to be false. And they said this case appears to lack prima facie validity. Then when it came when the Shankaracharya said this case should be heard outside Tamil Nadu, Supreme Court has said it appears that the Tamil Nadu government is hell-bent on securing a conviction by hook or crook and to destroy the mutt itself. Shankaracharya could not have been arrested in Andhra Pradesh, a Congress ruled state, on Diwali night without the clearance of the Congress government. The Dalits. And he made them pujaris. He built temples for them. He said caste system is optional. It is not connected to the birth. He gave examples. He said that Valmiki was scheduled caste. But he was creating problem. And therefore he had to be arrested this way and humiliated.
जो मंदिर है उसके अब मुझे गर्व हो रहा है उनको इंट्रोड्यूस करते हुए जो उस संस्था को आजकल चला रहे हैं हमारे भाटिया जी वो हमारे प्रधान जी हैं, हमारी बहन कल्चर सेक्रेटरी है, हमारे भाई एग्जीक्यूटिव कमेटी के मेंबर हैं, एक बहन मेरी ये भी हैं, ये चुपचाप बैठी हैं। इनका भी बहुत योगदान है हमारे मंदिर के चलाने में। जैसे ये सारे अम्ब्रेला ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के प्रधान हैं, अनिल जी उसके जनरल सेक्रेटरी हैं, प्राण जी हमारे बहुत बढ़िया आर्य समाज के जनरल सेक्रेटरी हैं। हमारे भाई बड़ी दूर से आए हैं, देखिए गौतम जी, इनको आज ही मिली ईमेल, सेंट्रल लंदन से ठंडी में आए हैं। तो इस तरह से कपूर साहब हमारे जो कि कट्टर इनकी मेरी तरह हर बूंद में, खून की बूंद में हिंदुत्व है, जैसे कि सब में है, लेकिन इनमें कुछ ज्यादा है। ये भाई साहब मनोहर जी, तो ये सब आपकी सेवा में, आपके स्वागत के लिए आए हैं। और मैं समझता हूँ कि आपका जो साउथ हॉल की यात्रा है, आप दिल से कहेंगे अवश्य बहुत सक्सेसफुल रही हो। हमारे भाई लिटिल इंडिया नहीं है।
जब भी मैं साउथ हॉल आया इंडिया में परिवर्तन हुआ।
डॉक्टर स्वामी, इट्स नॉट लिटिल इंडिया नाउ, इट्स लिटिल the Hindu in the country, Akhanda Hindu. हमें because the Nepalese are there, Indians are, lot of people are there. अपने बड़े भाई श्री ओम प्रकाश शर्मा जी जो हिंदू काउंसिल यूके के प्रधान हैं, उनसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा, नेशनल प्रधान है हमारे, हाँ नेशनल काउंसिल हिंदू टेम्पल, प्लीज वोट ऑफ थैंक्स प्लीज।
The Shankaracharya will come out clean. And therefore, consequently, why should we be agitated? I don't say that Shankaracharya should not, no case should be filed against Shankaracharya by any government, of course. I'm not saying that. But look at the way it was done. The Shankaracharya was arrested in Andhra, in Mehboob Nagar, on the night of Diwali. There was no need for him to be arrested on the night of Diwali. He was then put in a bus, ordinary police bus, driven to all the way to Hyderabad, and then put on some chartered plane and brought to Kanchipuram, brought to Madras, and then driven again to Kanchipuram, and presented before the Sessions Court at 4 a.m. in the morning. What was the need to do that? They could have done it after, they could have done it or before, because the murder took place on the 3rd of September, the arrest took place on the 11th of November. Why was it the time for Diwali? And that to this way. Now, not only that, if you wanted to arrest him, there was no, for what are you arresting him? He is not being convicted of anything. You are arresting because you are considered him a suspect in a case. You want to seek some evidence. So, why can't you put him in a guest house and ask him these questions? We have that tradition in our law. The law permits that. For example, Sheikh Abdullah, when he was arrested on a charge of treason, he was not put in a jail. He was kept in a guest house in Delhi, and later on he was taken to Kodaikanal and kept in one of the best houses that Kodaikanal has. Moraji Desai and Jayaprakash Nayan were arrested under Misa. They were not put in jail, they were kept in dark bungalows, depriving him of his liberty before he is convicted. And therefore, if that person is prominent, if that person cannot disappear, if that person cannot assume a new identity, then you must not arrest him. You must only require that he appears before the investigating authorities whenever they call him. Now, Shankaracharya of Kanchi cannot disappear. He cannot get a new name. He is a person who is known, whose face is known all over the country. And therefore, your arresting him the idea was not due process of law, but the idea was to denigrate the institution and make the Hindus feel that one of their most respected sadhus is in fact nothing but a common criminal long before he is convicted. Now, I am not saying that this case is a bogus case. It is stated by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court asked the Tamil Nadu police, tell us what the evidence you have so far. First they said Shankaracharya gave 40 lakh rupees to murderers, to those who went into the murder. And these 40 lakhs were withdrawn from a nationalized bank. Well, the defense lawyers produced a letter from the bank saying that no such money was drawn from any of the 183 banks, bank accounts which the Shankara Math has all over the country. So then they had to change their stand. Actually that cash was for a sale of a land property, and that cash was kept without putting in a bank, in the bank, and therefore out of this money they paid the assassins. Well, the manager of the Kanchi Math, his name is Sundaresh Iyer, he produced the counterfoil to show that when that money came, and that money came before the murder, he had already deposited the next day in the bank. And the bank also confirmed, the ICICI bank confirmed that yes, indeed, this deposit was made. So in anger, Ms. Jayalalitha put a narcotics case on Sundaresh Iyer. He was a pious man, he's a gold medalist, was a Reserve Bank officer before retiring and taking full-time job as a manager of the Kanchi Math. And she put him in a Gunda Act, in a narcotics case act, in jail. So the Supreme Court made fun of this. Said, where is the record? And you have made this with such flimsy grounds. Then they do it. Now that's an area of speculation. But is the central government not implicated? And they have managed to defeat. I think the whole thing will change. Unfortunately, what's happened is that the BJP, which united the Hindu mind on the Ram Janmabhoomi issue and rose from 2 MPs to 182 MPs and got hold of the central government, didn't remain true to that agenda. And so there has been a backlash. But in the future, if Hindus agree to get mobilized, then nobody will be worried of peace. Today, people take Hindus for granted and do the appeasement so that the Muslims and Christians will en bloc vote for them. And the day the Hindus become en bloc and say on these fundamentals you have to agree with us, otherwise we are going to vote against you and vote for somebody else who will agree with us, then I think this appeasement will take no time. Which really ran the anti-emergency campaign. And they were able to communicate with their relatives back home. They were able to use the BBC radio, which used to be listened by in the length and width of India. And I can say this, that when Mrs. Gandhi returned back to power in 1980, she herself told me, when I asked her why in 1977 she declared this election and then lost it. Well, first of all, she didn't know she would lose it, but she said the pressure mounted by overseas Indians was so tremendous that foreign governments were also every day asking me when election would be held. Today, I think the same way overseas Indian community can play a major role once you understand what the Seige is all about. So just by doing pujas you cannot fight this threat. So now you find a systematic effort being made to weaken the mindset. The present government has come out with a book, history book, a revised history book, in which Prithviraj Chauhan is being called a coward and Jai Chand as a hero. They said Prithviraj Chauhan ran away. Yes, Prithviraj Chauhan didn't run away. He was killed in battle. He was betrayed by Jai Chand. But they say no, Jai Chand was the hero. It's there in the new NCRT history book. There are other things which are also being done. And today we are being told that look at recently there is a case in California where they had to make major changes. But the fact of the matter is that we must be clear about our identity. What is our identity? Language. For everybody. mother tongue, English for higher studies and international use, and Sanskrit. Or Sanskritized Hindi. Hindi is Sanskritized, ultimately it becomes Sanskrit itself. But with Devanagari script. That needs to be done. And then I think it will be very easy to combat this siege. This siege, if we do not unite and confront it, then by erosion you will lose. You have already lost a lot of ground, you can see. Today, the Andhra Pradesh government has taken over all the hundis and using that money even to develop mosques and churches. It has happened in our history when we have just watched. Thank you very much.
The basic point lies in the fact that it's the illiterate people who actually go and vote, and that is the reason the politicians are actually trying to split the vote and do the way things are going on at the moment. Yes, we agree that people have done a lot of bad to Guruji, and I think we need to be united actually to do.
People say Hindus will never consolidate. That's not true. The Hindus have shown that they can consolidate if you come with an agenda. Whether those people who got elected were true to that agenda or not, that's another matter. But I don't. I'm grateful to Dr. Reddy saying that he recognizes that we must do something about the Shankaracharya of Kanchi, and we must find ways by which we express ourselves so that the masses of India elect a political instrument which can bring about a Hindu renaissance in the country.